Hello, I'm Christopher Brett-Renes, and we're back after a hiatus of about 18 months with a move from Sydney to Melbourne, and COVID. It's been a bit busy. So today I'm joined by my amazing colleague Nadine, and we are going to talk about, well, whatever we want, really, because, yeah, we can. How are you going, Nadine?
I'm all right. We just got the information. I don't know why I'm talking so slow. We just got news that we're going to come out of lockdown in a couple of days, and Fruit Loops. I can't wait to get a massage. I just want to be touched.
How has COVID, like we often talk, mental health and all that on here, and
yeah,
we know that COVID's had a massive impact. But as a therapist, has COVID impacted you?
Oh, yeah, particularly how holding space for myself and my companions, which is the terminology I use for clients and patients.
Yeah.
Like I worked all the way through. I work at a sexual assault clinic. We weren't allowed to work from home. And I was, you weren't
allowed to work from home, so you weren't doing telehealth at all?
We were doing telehealth and face-to-face and still the crisis work and the on-call work. When on-call is if anyone's been sexually assaulted or escaping family violence in the middle of the night or such, and they would go to a hospital or the police or something, we're one of the first respondents. And so all of that was still happening, which is magnificent, but it was really about juggling that time, that space, while working with individuals and myself. And at the time I was
a vital frontline service that got both impacted by COVID, but also the workers being put at risk of COVID. So that must be
very much
in, what was it, our lockdown number 2, where it was just forever.
Oh, yeah. Forever. And everyone was learning. Like by lockdown number 5, we felt like, okay, cool. We know what to do genuinely. And the second wave hit, and there was all these fears about the different types of strains and such. So it was very different, but we were kind of rolling with it because we at least had something, some previous experiences to go with.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I had an had a case consult with a family violence specific service. So I do both, and this is a family violence. And in 1 month, they had over 433 intakes for family violence and women and children escaping family violence alone in 1 month.
Wow.
That's ridiculous in Melbourne alone. So
in metropolitan Melbourne.
Yeah. I won't give you the specifics, but yeah.
Bloody hell. That then, I guess, leads to the question that some people say the whole COVID thing wasn't traumatic or isn't a traumatic event, and others will say it is. How you've been on the front line, you've worked daily, you've worked with people that have been both impacted by COVID and events that probably were exacerbated by COVID, and then people with COVID stress. What do you think?
I haven't met a human that wasn't impacted by COVID by some means or at some moment. I do think there are levels of variation of how impacted they were, whether someone lost their job or didn't have income or mental health decline or whatever it is. So I would struggle holding a conversation with someone that didn't see COVID as traumatic. And I guess that's because of the way where I work and who I'm working with. I'd be like, okay, cool. So what kind of life do you live where COVID hasn't impacted you? Because I am far from that.
They're from Western Australia. No.
I'm just really angry at Queensland. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Beautiful weather. Hardly any lockdowns. I'm really happy for you. It's pure jealousy. That's really interesting, Chris. Like that's something that I work in a very very taboo dark side of the world. So I think my perspective is very skewed.
Mm.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say to humans that don't find COVID traumatic.
Mm.
I'd struggle to hold space if I'm being really honest. I just wouldn't be able to connect or empathize. I'd be like, oh, okay.
So from being a trauma specialist therapist,
Mm.
you're also a sex therapist, and what, away from the trauma aspects, what relationship aspects have you seen during COVID?
A lot of individuals newly met or met online fast-tracked a lot of the intimate things because of restrictions and COVID, and not a lot of eyes were on them, which means not a lot of people were able to see how they interacted. Then when, it kind of went from let's meet online, and then we went straight to each other's homes, and there's no shame there. I'm not shaming, it's just and then you choose to continue to be in a relationship, and then some relationship stuff comes on top of an added layer of societal restrictions, and then trauma, and then triggers, and then uncertainty, and a very valid sense of anxiety with the unknown. And then so there's all these real big layers, and what I'm seeing is a lot of fast tracking of relationships, and not the slowing down and having and like all of a sudden just like latching on together, choosing to become partners, and then being thrust into a trauma world, and having no tools of resilience.
Did you find, go
Yeah.
on.
No, please ask.
I was wondering, did you find that because of the lockdowns and all that, and the loss of work, kind of newly dating people kind of went, well, should we just move in together?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. And some people, it's worked out beautifully, right? And I've seen it, and I'm working with it, and I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. And then with others, I'm like, okay, well, do you want to do the work? And there's this resistance. And, also a lot of sexual assault let me rephrase that. The humans that I'm working with have disclosed to me sexual assault that have occurred during the lockdowns, but do not wish to report to the police. And that's a very complex situation. And I haven't done any research, but in my work and my lived experience of working with them, it's that fear of, I just met them, I made them my partner to be part of that social bubble. This happened, and I'm a fear of this being me. There's this fear that I've done something illegal, so therefore I can't report. And holding that space is really challenging, because it's like, well, you didn't do anything illegal, and you have every right when you go out on a date with someone not to get sexually assaulted. I don't understand. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, I think after COVID, and as we're coming up with restrictions, I think there's going to be even an uphill of further traumatic responses. I think there's a lot of things that have gone undisclosed in these times, because of that needing to solidify and consolidate really quickly between lockdowns and such.
I know that one of the things I found is loss of libido, loss of interest in sex. So couples will sort of say, oh, we were like shagging like rabbits in 2019, 2020 comes along, and it's, I don't know about you, but I found that my female clients are the ones complaining that the guy has all of a sudden it's evaporated. And I know that, like, from an evolutionary point of view, we're programmed during natural disasters to go, when we're taking we're putting survival. Have you sort of seen a similar thing, and have you seen sort of the sexual dysfunctions, both male and female?
That's a really interesting question, because I've had a lot of influx of trauma-based individuals coming to me. And sexual dysfunction, sexuality issues is more the sideline. because when I sit and I speak, I'm like, yeah, I really hear and I validate that, but that's a
Mm.
symptom, not a cause. And I've been saying that a lot lately for different things. I was
It-
like, it's a symptom, not a cause. Stop it. And what it is this time is really bringing up a lot of past traumas. A
so
lot of,
is it because they've been left with their own thoughts? Because
Yeah.
we've all had a lot of time.
Yes, there is nothing. We are literally being forced to sit with all the things we've lived life as to distract us from. We can't book ourselves into parties and go to Bunnings and go run our fingers amongst the nursery. That's definitely what I do,
Not the cactus section.
Can I water the plants, please? Sometimes I can, sometimes it's a no, but you can buy something. Yeah, it's like almost like we're forced to sit with ourselves and go, oh shit, like there is not a lot to distract us. There's only so much Netflix and puzzles and clay pots and ordering cupcakes to eat in the bath we can do. Again, oddly specific.
So what have you been recommending that your clients do? Like normal
Yeah.
self-care. A lot of it was taken away. Gyms, going out, doing like going for a facial or a haircut or the movies. Gone. What type of things have you been recommending to clients for self-care?
Individuals or couples? So
Let's do both.
Well, with couples, date boxes, creating a box. This is a free technique I give away to my couples. So I'd be like, you're going to create a box and it's going to be a date box, and you each put in things that you love to do. Don't think about your partner when you're doing them. You can think about, oh, I'd really love to try this with my partner. And then they all go into the box, and then one date night a week, you pick out whatever, and this is activity you're doing. So from playing Lego, body painting, doing a puzzle, maybe playing, like, I don't know if you're a gamer, like play some games, just really trying to create some ISO fun, but with connecting with each other. So that was the couple stuff. Individuals was a little bit more challenging. And I think because I had traumatic, like individuals, some intense trauma. So a lot of it was soul searching, journaling. How can you create? How can you move your body? How can you tap into creativity in this time? And I think that's just my draw. I think that was just my blessed, like whoever was coming to me in that time, I was really lucky and blessed that they chose me for that work. And so I don't have a lot of like individuals that came to me and were very complex. So, and then as we know, as workers, our work isn't linear. We have no idea the beautiful souls that are going to come to us. We have no idea what we're going to work with. And I don't identify as like a generalist therapist. I don't think, I'm happy always to sit with general anxiety and depression, but I think, there's always that complex trauma work that I think I actually feel more comfortable working in. If I'm gonna be honest, which I don't want to like jinx myself. It's just let's talk about the multiple intersectional layers and let's unpack them. Let's put them all on the table and let's look at them individually and slowly work through them.
It takes a particular person, like you sort of said at the beginning, to work in that dark and taboo area of mental health and sexual health, because let's face it, even a lot of doctors don't like talking about both trauma and sexual trauma. But so
lots of referrals to specialist sexual services, which I think with all due respect, I love and I respect professionals who go, oh, that's not my domain. Like I really do respect that. Like for me, I identify as that disordered eating is not something that I work in, and that I think there are other humans out there, other professionals who could do more justice to it than me. There's just so many things in the mental health field, like I can't do it all. So I get my niche, and I'm very upfront about that with individuals.
I have a huge amount of respect, and when I do teaching it, I always recommend, like, it's always better to refer on and let somebody else who can actually help them.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain. We can share it all. You know, this is, like, this is not the time for your ego and your competition. Not when it comes to someone's soul and life and healing. Like it's not the time to prove to your colleagues how amazing you are. Like, no, you're in the wrong field if you're doing that.
So, as I was,
I knew we were going to digress. We do this all the time. I became a philosopher in 30 seconds.
Oh, we're watching the time here.
I know. I can't work in these conditions.
So there we are. We've done our first video in a long time, and thank you, Nadine, for coming on. And Nadine and I will be doing this regularly from now on.
Yes.
We hope to get it every couple of weeks, maybe. We will be doing updates and promotions about it on our social medias, our Instagrams, which are below. So hit a like, subscribe, follow us on social media, and yeah, we'll see you.
And send in questions, send in topics. I would love. Yep, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I was like, yes, actually, this is a great choice because I'm always curious about what do people want to know. Like, do people want to know about orgasms, or like what the brain does when we're like, what's happening when we're traumatized or triggered? You know, I'm really curious, like what depth.
Yeah.
I know I'd love.
We should stress that we're both qualified sex therapists. We're not.
Yeah.
So
you didn't get it out of a cereal box. I promise you. That was my PC degree.
Okay. Yes. So we'll see you next time. Goodbye.